afternoon, everyone. Hello and welcome to the Soul Food Book Club. We're so glad that you're joining in with us today, and what a beautiful day it is here in Vermont, where I am, and hopefully where all of you are. We have a very special guest with us today because we are reading his book. Anybody have the book? There we go. Awesome. Joseph Brutto, his beautiful, amazing book, Is There More to Life Than What We Know? Joseph, welcome to the Soul Food Book Club today.
Well, thank you for having me on, Teri. And I want to thank all the readers for reading Is There More to Life Than What We Know? I just so enjoyed writing that book and the journeys that I shared. And just to talk about it and everything just gives me great honor and privilege. Thank you.
I'm so glad you're here, and let's just say hello to everyone that's in Zoom. Stacy.
Hi.
Hello, my friend. Thank you for being here, and thank you for bringing your boss along.
who's working right now.
And hello, Linda Lemieux.
I'll need to leave a couple minutes early for a medical appointment.
Okay.
Here.
And welcome, Charlie Coons.
Hello, everyone.
And Christina Leftwich.
Hello.
Our Grace Isis. Hello, darling.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Joseph. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
And Mary Quincoli. We have a full house here, and we have room for more if you want to jump on into this discussion today. Last week, we started into just talking about the book. Some had just gotten it. Some, it was on the way. But I just want to open it up to see, Joseph, first of all, I would love for you to tell us the journey to writing the book. What was it like for you to bring this book into the world?
Well, when I first started out with my journey, it was just notes, so I wouldn't forget my experience. So everywhere I would go, I would sit there and I would just start writing notes about my experiences. And then when I was starting to develop into a channel, messages started to come through, and I've been waking up 4 a.m. that I had to write these messages to share. So what started as just notes, so I remember where my journey ended up being channel messages to share with everyone. And as I started to read it, I said, you know, this is starting to look a little like a book, and maybe I need to put it in a book form instead of just having these piles of paper here. And so I started to, at first I was just writing with pen and paper. So I started to put it back into the computer, and then I started the channel, and the book started to come into form. Now this book it's my life. So I started to journalize back like 10 years before it was published. And then toward the end, then I put it all together and decided to publish it.
Awesome. Well, I just want to open it up. If anybody has a question or a comment for Joseph, this would be your time to do that.
I'm here.
I'm just enjoying the book. I've read it a couple of times, but I'm reading it again. I really do enjoy it. Joseph, what was the hardest part about coming out with your gifts?
You know, insecurities, not about what people would think about me, but the insecurities of coming out that, all right, maybe I'm not right 100%. Maybe I'll be wrong. And just feeling that, and then with the book, coming out with the book too, is the insecurities, because I talk a lot of deep subjects. I talk about extraterrestrials, which is kind of like with people and stuff. And I bring God into a different light and bringing God into a higher consciousness, not just like a soul, like a man. And I start to break down different things. So the fear of being judged came in as well. So I decided to just bite the bullet. Going to put it out there. This is who I am, and whoever is going to accept me will accept me and enjoy the book. And whoever doesn't, then the book is not right for them.
Thank you.
And which spiritual leader do you think helped you the most, or which moment in your journey do you think was your most vital or turning point or whatever?
It seems like when we're in crisis, we're always going through soul transformation or progression. And when we're in crisis or going through dilemmas in life, this is when answers come. And it's always seemed to be when I had difficult in life or change in life that when my guides will come through. I call them the collective, so they're all a collective voice that helps me. Individually, Indigo was the most strongest voice in my head that came, but each one had different lessons. Each one taught me different ways. And I found that in the silence, in the oneness, this is where I heard my voice. When I say about times of transition, it was a time after divorce for me, where I was alone for the first time. And I had a lot of alone time to think and to go soul searching. And I was I wasn't even a practicing medium then. I was a practicing channel and channeling my guides and everything. But this is where I heard my guides. They gave me direction and what to do and where to go. And then they started giving me directions in life for everyone to help them. It's like you have to walk in someone's shoes to get the answers. And it seems like every time there's an experience I have to go through or went through, I take that experience to help others. And that's how I get the information. But not one guide or anything gave me the inspiration. It's the whole collective of all the beings that work through me.
Right, because I had awakening and experience, and I've, they've come to me in ways, and they said, I've talked to people that are on the other side, have talked to me, and people have, they even said, I was told to listen to Paul and Silent Girl, and I don't know. And I was looking for a Paul, so I reached out to a psychic named Paul. So after reading your book, I'm thinking that they might even be my guides.
Most likely they are. So when they say listen to Paul, it's like listen within. Sometimes we identify guides by name. It helps us to identify who they are. Right. That's why my guides came out like Patrick, Indigo, Sparrowhawk, individuals, so I know, right. But they're a true collective. So Paul is probably a main guide for you. Now, if you're a religious person, Catholics, let's say, and the Bible with the Apostle Paul, it could be the Apostle Paul who is connected with you. And that's my feeling.
And my regular guide is Peter, so it's like
there's another apostle.
Right,
there.
Yeah, and
so I feel like that's where you're going with.
Yeah. So, the book was so like amazing, and it just connected with me, like the things I've went through and stuff. It's like wow,
A lot of people will find that they're experiencing the same thing that I experienced, and they'll resonate to it, and they'll go, "Oh my God, I'm not crazy. Joseph's going through this too. I'm not alone." And this is that's what happens when you go through it. So
yeah. Well, anyway, I pulled the card for you, so while I'm here.
Oh, wonderful.
And it's you ain't going to believe.
Is it on a topic?
You ain't going to believe it's
Is it about career, relationships, or just?
No, I just pulled it for Joseph,
Good, Joseph. Okay.
All right, so for you. And it's the Angel Wisdom Tarot deck.
Okay.
By Rowley. And it came up with the Magician.
That is so funny because that is my card. Every time somebody pulls a card, the Magician comes up. And that's funny that you got that too out of all the cards in the deck.
Right. That's exactly what came up.
What's your interpretation, Charlie?
Yeah, well, it reads that like the magic is in your life, and which it is, and which we all know, and you're a gifted person, and you do magnificent things to help people, and it says you will need. What you need to be successful will manifest if you believe you can do it. So that's, it's like the number one card in the deck. Actually, it is the number one card. There's a zero card, which is the dreamer, but you're the magician. So
like I said, that's a strong card for me. A lot of psychics pull that card for me, the magician card. Magician card, not musician, magician.
Yeah.
And but manifesting is it you know, you hit a nail on the head on there. If you're a strong manifester, you can bring things your way, and you have to have trust and faith on what you're manifesting. So.
Right. So, yeah. Oh, I had just one other thing in the book when I was reading it. On page 111, you talk about, what do you call it? The pendant, what do you call the thing that goes back and forth?
Pendulum.
Pendulum.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right in it. It will swing east to west for yes.
Okay.
And it goes north to south for yes. Isn't that correct?
Well, each person can program their pendulum to work their way. That's how my pendulum worked for me.
Oh, okay.
With my guides. So it would work differently for you. So you program your pendulum, and how it works for you, what direction it goes for yes and no, that is how they speak to you. With me,
oh, I thought that was universal. That
no. You program your pendulum, and how it works for you, that's how it works for you.
Oh, okay. Because yes, I see going back and forth and no, and that way. So
Yeah, that's how I get it too. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Any
Good
no,
question.
the book is awesome. I love it.
Thank you. So, any other questions? I am full of answers.
Hi, Teri. Hello.
Yeah, I hear you, Mary.
Oh, okay. Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
All right. Hi, Joseph.
Hi, Mary.
So I am not finished. Oh, I'm sorry. They're doing construction in my building, so you might hear something, but I am not finished with the book yet. But I have a question. Okay. This is very interesting. I never read a book like this before.
Okay.
And so you have your, the masters, the people that you connect with, right?
Correct.
And I understand that's something you had to go through, obviously, to reach a level where you're at, right?
Correct.
That's a way that things had to be brought to you and you had to learn.
It's a building process. You have to crawl before you can walk.
Exactly.
And then you'll be running in no time.
Okay, so what I want to ask you, so now that you have all that information and you're able to connect at that level that most people do not connect, are you able to just go directly, rather than go through one of the people you channel, are you able to connect to God or that total collective, that love at the top that you say is in control? Are you able to connect to that directly?
Mary, every one of us is able to connect to it, not just because I'm channeling the masters. I just hear them and I express their messages to you. But every one of you can go deep inside the soul, and you can communicate with that higher consciousness, that higher power. I call it your higher self or your higher consciousness. This is what I call God. So just because I'm hearing them and expressing it doesn't mean that everyone else can't do that. Everybody does it in their life. You just have to be aware of it and trust it. And you'll be able to do that too. And just trust that feeling, that gut feeling that you're connecting to that higher consciousness, that you're hearing God, and then ask for direction. And it's just so easy to do that.
Okay, I understand that. Thank you. And do you do that though yourself, or do you always just connect with the collective like that?
Oh no, I don't have to connect to the collective to speak to God. When I need answers, I just go deep into myself, and then I hear the answers within thyself. When I start to talk within thyself, that means I'm connecting. So, but yeah, it's just a true connection. And we're always, when they say we're all one, we're all one. We're all tied into the universe. We're all connected. So the guides are there too, but you don't have to go through the guides to connect with the higher source. It's almost like today, if you look at today, we have a priest, and you think, you have to go to the priest to talk to God. No, you don't have to go to the priest to talk to God. You can talk to God on your own. So it's the same way with us. We don't have to go to our guides to talk to God. We can go to God on our own because we're just as powerful as our guides are.
Okay, so you're just basically getting certain information from them. It's like if you talk to one person, they'll tell you, you'll have one type of conversation. If you speak with another person, you'll have another type of conversation. So they're just presenting information to you differently.
Exactly. The guides have different personalities, they have different information. For instance, Sparrowhawk's more Native American teachings. He'll go through the Native Americans. Indigo's more universal. He's extraterrestrial. He'll talk about the galaxy, the oneness and everything. Patrick is more down to earth here. He'll talk about life here on earth and more basic. He's more into, he can relate more into how feelings and things like that. So each guy does have different teachings to do. So if I need to go into their expertise, then I'll communicate directly. But if I just want to talk to God, then I'll ask for God, or what I call the higher consciousness. I talk to the higher consciousness and I ask for advice and help and direction.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I like this. This is pretty fun.
Those were some cool questions, Joseph.
I love these Q&As. This is so.
I was wondering if there was one step in your learning that really was particularly awesome or surprising. For example, if I look back in my life, I can see one step led to this, and that led to something else, and that led to something else. And usually when I finish a step and go on to another one, it's a new awakening or new information coming in. So I wondered, in your background or coming up even, if you know of one particular thing that happened or a step and you were like a little more surprised than the others, or aha moment, or is it all like that?
There's more aha moments than others. And the big aha moments, I was in probably my late 20s, and I was in the Ocala forest here in Florida at an Indian powwow where I met a person named Debbie. And I didn't know who she was. She seemed like she was out of place. And then we began to talk. And then eventually she told me if I could trust and believe in her, that I would be on an incredible journey. At that time in my life, I was going through divorce and I was learning how to channel. I was just beginning stages of channeling. I was going through channeling classes with my mentor, Marilyn Raphael. Well, I told her, yes, I put my faith in her. I can trust her. I remember her laying me down on the ground and she was hovering her hands like you would do with energy healing. They felt like hot irons. They were just so heat coming out. Then she started to explain herself. She said, well, Joseph, I'm not from this world. I'm an extraterrestrial and I'm known from the Fijians. Then she started telling me about what I was going through, about my divorce and my children, about how it's hurting me, the separation and not seeing them all the time. But she said that I'm going to be doing great things in life. At this time, like I said, I was just a practicing channel. But she said that my mediumship abilities will come in. I'll be healing people. I'll be on television. I'll be writing books. And I'm not a writer. I said, geez, I never thought I could write anything. But she told me all this stuff. And she gave me all these symbols, light languages to look for. And those are the cards that I have on there that has energy that works with your aura and balances you. So she told me who my guides were because I wasn't sure. I thought Indigo was from India because I was sit Indian style on the floor with my hands in a triangle with the zig slap. So this must be a man from India. No, he's extraterrestrial. And so I got to find out who Sparrowhawk was and Indigo and Patrick and who these guys were, why they worked with me. And she also told me my purpose in life, why I was here and my mission. So that was one of the moments that really turned me, I started to develop. If I go back a few more years, when I was in my early 20s, Marilyn Raphael, who was my channel teacher at the time, before I started become a student, she channeled her masters, and her master told me that I'm on a mission to be on guard, that I would be communicating with the Christ, and I'll be bringing the Christ consciousness in. So that was my awareness of, okay, I'm going to be channeling the Christ consciousness in. And that's before. And then, 10 years later, meeting Debbie in this Ocala forest thing. And it's just all kind of came all together. So.
Well, thank you. That's really interesting.
You're welcome. So any other questions any of you have?
Do you think Debbie was an alien?
No, I could never find her again. I tried searching for her because I had more questions. And the house that they rented was no longer, the owner said that they're no longer there. She said she's from Ireland, and I just, at that time, the internet wasn't as strong back then. It was before the internet really was out. So I couldn't really Google or anything like that at that time. So I can't even remember the last name she gave me. So to Google it now. So maybe she'll see her symbols out there in my cards and reach out to me, but it's been a long time, so I haven't heard from her yet.
Just
So she gave you the symbols on the cards?
Yes, she drew them right in front of me. She pulled out, she had like this whole thing of index cards and markers. And this was after she told me who I was and what I'm about, my guides. And then she told me to sit up. And then she says, I have these symbols to give to you. I want you to work with them every day. It's going to help balance your energy. It'll make you a strong communicator, and it's going to bring you into your power. She also gave me my DNA code, the missing code that we're missing in our life to connect. And she gave me these, she wrote these symbols that I have in my safe. She said, this is the symbols that God made you with, and this is going to bring your power, that you'll be doing miracles, the magician, so to say, that I will be doing healings and mediumship work, and I will be doing this strongly. So she got her markers, different colors. She wrote these symbols out. She told me to put my hand above each one. She started telling me what they're about, and I started writing what each symbol was about on there. And then that was it. I didn't see her again after that.
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Can I ask you something about the DNA card?
Yes. Well, okay, go ahead. Mhm.
No, not to tell me what it is, but so what is that exactly? What is it supposed to do? Is it like a what is it, like an Akashic record type of thing?
All right. They're called universal energy cards.
No, I saw it. I saw it in the book. I saw the cards, and
Yeah,
but what is it supposed to, like your DNA one? What are you supposed to do with it?
all right, my one that I have locked in the safe.
Yes, like what if someone has one of those? What are they? What is it meant for?
She just told me to look at it, and she said, this is your blueprint. This is your blueprint code, and it's going to activate me. And she said, just look at it, look at the symbols on it. It's like an inverted triangle. I wrote it in the book. It's an inverted triangle, and then there were symbols starting from the bottom all the way up, connecting to the I am, and the higher self and the lower self connecting to oneself. So she told me to look at it and to just the symbols, just see it in your brain. Just always see that symbol. And it's just going to connect you to the I am, connect you to the universe. And it's going to just develop all your abilities that you have. So that's what that was all about.
Oh,
And she said not to show it to anybody. This has to be for you.
So it helps you connect to yourself basically.
To your higher self. It connects you to your higher self, and it opens you up. It's like almost like Master Jesus connected to his higher self. He was able to use Kabbalah, and he was a Kabbalist, and he used to do these miracles and stuff. So you can bring it to strong levels and do miracles like Jesus does after you progress and you learn.
Can I ask you like a somewhat personal question?
We'll see. Okay.
Not too personal. But okay, so you have this ability, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to live a normal life every day.
Yes.
So what do you like, how do you do that? Like, how can you go about your day every day without, you must pick up, you meet someone, you pick something up, you meet someone, you pick something up, you're always picking things up. So what do you do to block? You have to block it out somehow.
We have to create a balance. That's why I said I'm Joseph here, and when I'm out and about, I'm Joe. I think Teri and Stacy have seen Joe before a lot of times. So Joe is an average Joe. He likes to go out. He likes to have drinks with friends, and he likes to dance. He likes to have fun, concerts and things and dates. That's Joe. Joseph is more the spiritual person. I go into my oneness, my one self, and I teach. You were at my event Saturday, I believe you said, Mary. So that was Joseph out there bringing messages. So I have disciplined myself to contact my higher self when I'm teaching and helping others, and to shut down and be my one self here, to be an average Joe, so to say.
Okay, thank
Balance. Perfect balance. You need balance.
you. Definitely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Joseph, we have Lisa Berry, who's watching online.
Hello, Lisa.
And Lisa says, Joseph, are you able to see others missing DNA symbols?
No, that's not my forte. This was Debbie did this, and she drew out all these symbols for me. So yeah, but myself, that's science. I don't know. But never say never. I have to say never, because I'm always progressing and I'm always learning. Maybe 5-10 years from now, I can say, yeah, I can start drawing symbols for people. You never know where life takes you. So, but that was given me. The symbols were given to me, and she wrote those out on a piece of paper, and she showed it to me, and I still have that paper. So,
Thank you for answering her question.
yeah.
Now, which one of your clairvoyant things are more I mean, more advanced than the other ones?
Oh, you're talking about my guides?
Yeah, like do you see more or do you hear more?
Oh, by clairs, what is strong? I'm claircognizant, meaning I'm all knowing. I don't think, I just say. I sometimes when you say you open your mouth too quick, I open my mouth too quick. I would say my clairvoyance is my weakest. I can't see physical anymore. I used to when I was a child. I see spirit, like I see you, but now I only see it in my third eye, and I have to work hard with it. So my claircognizance is what I use, and it's just knowing. I don't hesitate. I just know when I'm doing readings. I just blur it right out. Don't even have to think about it, and that's my strongest clairs.
Right, and it's all channeled usually. Oh.
In different ways, it's channeled. Like for instance, when I do my mediumship work, I'm channeling in the loved ones that comes through. And when I'm doing channeling work with the spirit guides and angels, I'm connecting to the higher masters and guides and angels and channel that way. So they're different concepts of what I do. When I'm healing, I bring in the healing guides, the divine healing masters through me when I heal. So yeah, but it is channeling, mediumship channeling, but that's what it's called. But it's different ways that I do it. So when I connect to the loved ones, I don't have to go so high. Heaven is just a shadow of earth. It's just right here. So I don't have to connect. When I go to the higher ascended masters like Yeshua, Joshua, higher self God, I'm up here. And then you have the lower self, like Patrick is right here, like heavenly. And then you have Kuan Yin, and then I have all the archangels. So it's just different levels I kind of go up and down the scale with. And I think that's what makes me a stronger medium, is that I find that mediums that are true channels are better mediums because they know how to go up the higher vibrations, and you just have to lower the vibrations to connect with the loved ones here. And it's not that, and it makes it easier. Wow, if you're not a channel, you're just going this high, you have to go this high all the time. It's like jumping jump. But if you can go up here, then coming here is no problem. So I advise if any practicing mediums out there is to work on your channeling abilities, work with your guides, get to know them, get a good rapport with them, and then your mediumship abilities are going to increase tenfold.
Beautiful. Joseph, we have Grace Isis with her hand raised. Grace, do you have a question or a comment?
Yes, I do. And thank you again, Joseph, for giving us this time and being in our space and allowing us to inhale what you have been divinely given to share with the world. Yes. My question is, how did you come up with the title of the book?
Oh, is there more to life than what we know? It just popped in there. I don't know where it came from. I didn't do any research. And it's a series of our never ending journey of life series. So at first it was our never ending journey of life. That was the book. But then I said, no, that's going to be the series of the book. And is there more to life than what we know is going to be the title of the book. It came from divine. It came from God. It came from my guides. That's where it came from. I didn't research it. I didn't try it. It's just popped out there. It's like my Speaking to Heaven book. Where did I come up with that? I don't know. I talk to heaven, speak to heaven. So that's how that came out. So.
Because sometimes we who are enlightened and are on a path, we sometimes go back and forth with we're channeled. We get the message and we're like, but why would a title like that? Did you go back and forth, or you were just given and you were like, fine, we'll move on with it?
I was given it to the beginning, and you notice it has a question mark on it too. Yes. It's not, is it more to life than what you know? It's a question mark. So the title kind of sticks out. I wonder if there is more to life than what we know. Let me check it out.
And have there been questions, like have people said, so what do you actually mean? Okay, they'll read the book, but you know, and then are there some times when people read the book and they say, but perhaps, you know, there are those who are much more advanced in the enlightenment and they say, well, I knew all that. Or have you come up across some of those kind of, I'm sorry to be so negative.
No,
but
it's a good question. It's not a negative. You know, there are people who are more advanced than the others. And is there more to life than what we know? It starts off as a basic book for beginners because it talks about my journey and how I learned to become a channel and my fears and skepticisms that I had. As I developed, I became stronger. And then toward the end of the book, they're more strong, they're better, they're more lessons, deeper meanings, because I became a stronger channel. And those who are more advanced and stuff could either resonate to the message and go, yes, that's how I think, how the Christ consciousness work. And it gives them stronger validation that they're not alone thinking that way, that there's others thinking that way. So I look at it as for those more advanced, so to say, they may take the book and look at it like, okay, I knew this, and there's Joseph is saying the same thing. So that gives me validation that I'm on the same page.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Joseph, do you ever have any, when you do your readings, do you ever have spirit from the readings try to hang around you afterwards?
Yeah, that's why I have to do my close the shop, so to say, thing. So I normally take a shower. If I can take a shower right away and come home, it just kind of closes and washes everything away. But at the very beginning, yes, I see that too. Or sometimes when I'm in bed later on, I can hear moving or something fall in the kitchen, and I go, all right, leave me alone, guys, go home. And so they'll do follow me sometimes on there, but I've gotten to the point where I let the spirits go home with the person that I've read. So I think
they do.
Take your loved ones, take your loved ones with you.
Good point. We have Christina that wants to talk to you.
Okay.
Hi, Joseph. I'm really enjoying your book. I'm not quite through it, but I'm really into it. And you've reminded me of maybe doing some fire circles and some things that I haven't done in a while. But I want to ask you a couple questions. One is, when I was a child, I had a very negative experience.
Okay.
And I was just wondering, I know you've had, you know, because you didn't put protection around you,
Okay.
you know, that you've had your negative, but I can't even tell you what exactly happened. Because by that time I had already had experiences with angels, and even with what I called as a child a ghost. I'm not entirely sure, but it was ghost and to me. And I just remember seeing something that was so frightening to me that I couldn't even scream. I was screaming inside and I couldn't. Nothing was coming out of my mouth, and I was just yelling and yelling and yelling for help. But I don't even know what I saw.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering,
was this in a dream state, or were you conscious at the time?
No, I was completely conscious. This was during the daytime. I was heading out or to my room. I can't remember which, but it just was lit out of the blue kind of a thing. I did no idea.
A lot of times what happens is, you know, we have duality, we have heavy energy, we have light energy. And when we tap into the heavy energy, it may represent something that is evil or ugly out there. It's just what word I am here. It just represents that. In my interpretation it's just to remind you of the duality that we have in life. There is good, there is evil, there is bad. And so we have choices to make and all that. And it's just making you aware of that, you know, that things can be as good as it is. There is evil there too, and you can walk the road that you need to walk on.
Okay, so that was an early on one for that. I mean, I figured that out as an adult, but this was just something that happened as a child. 40 years later, I'm like, man, I still get a clench in my stomach.
Yeah.
You know, kind of. Yeah, it was pretty scary. And then Now, I used to see a lot more as a child, like when you were just saying that, you know, as a child, you saw things a lot more. And I saw things right up until one day I actually had to tell them to stop showing me in such distinct form.
Okay.
Because it was like, to me, I wasn't even necessarily, it had happened where I didn't even think they weren't of this plane, of the earthly plane kind of a thing. And I was like, oh, no one else is seeing this. They're going to think I'm crazy, kind of a thing. So, and some of them kind of startled me at times too. You know, there's sometimes they could startle. So I asked them not to show up in form like that to me, and to talk in other ways to me. So that cognitive is how it kind of comes in with me. It's a thought. And it's just there, and I don't know where it comes from. It doesn't have a direction. It doesn't have anything like that. But I'd like to explore a little bit about what I see, things like on a worldly level.
Okay.
Again, that stems from a child, and I had to also ask, I would know when there was going to be a plane crash. That kind of thing. And that, as a kid, I didn't really want that information. Heck, I don't want that information as an adult, because I never knew what plane or anything like that. I just would have a dream the night before that there was a fiery plane crash, and then it would be on the news that a plane had crashed. So it was kind of like that. So I think I kind of backed off of it for a little bit, but it seems to be coming in loud and clear again.
Okay.
And now I'm a lot wiser and of a person than I was before. And so I'm just seeing what you do to help balance, because this is going to be coming in now, and there's nothing I can do.
What you need to do, Christina, is first set boundaries. It's very important to set those boundaries. Allow who you want to allow to come in and everything. Seeing things interpreted and seeing things coming into intuition, intuition is very hard to do, because if we're meant to be seers, if we're meant to see things that happen, and it's a gift that first you have to be acceptance for it. If you accept it and you want it, then open up to it. But if this is something you fear and you really don't want to do, you set your limits, you stop it, you say, I really don't want to see this, and you stop. But if you're open to it, if you feel you could help society with this, then open up to it and let it be and let it come to you. When we set boundaries, is you allow who comes in to your life and who's there. If you have uncertainty about an entity or fear, ask that they present the true self of who they are. And if you still have a gut feeling that they're not as the highest good, then ask them to leave, send them to the light. And that's what I normally do. And
Okay.
That's most important.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. I really am enjoying the book. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
I have a follow-up question to Christina. I have the gift of knowing things are going to happen, and it's frustrating because you can't prevent it. It's, you know, like if there's a plane going to crash, or like I was aware of 9/11, but I knew it would be a world event, but I didn't have the details. Is there any way to get details to prevent these, or are they just going to happen anyway?
It's our karmic, it's the earth karmic plan, and this is supposed to happen. It's mainly for preparation for our soul, for ourselves. So if you saw something happen like 9/11, you say, okay, I'm not going to be in New York that day, you know, and that's for you, your personal, that's probably a warning for you not to be at a certain place. And that's supposed to benefit your personal growth. But worldly things, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. There's no preventing our destiny and what's about to happen.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
These have been such great questions and great comments. Thank you, everyone. I know, I can see you in your element, Joseph.
I don't do many of these because mainly I do readings. People call and they want to know, talk to loved ones about their future or love life. But the concept of this conversation is what I write about, and this is my thing. And I just love talking about this, subjects like this.
Well, we certainly appreciate you being here. I just want to acknowledge those who are with us virtually. We have Tammy Fisk with us, Julie Kiss, Kathy Hand, and of course, Lisa Berry still hanging in there with us. Thank you all for being with us. And as we come to the end of the last little bit of the show, Joseph, I know your book is so informational as well as entertaining, and it's you don't want to put it down. It's one of those books that you want to know what happens. And I just wonder if there's any guidance you can give us if we are wanting to increase our clairs, our intuition, our clairvoyance, all of that. What would you say to someone who's really wanting to get more in touch with the spiritual gifts?
One thing we have to get out of our own way, we have the fears, and try not to rush it. Everybody wants everything to happen right away. It doesn't happen. It happens in stages as you develop. It happened for me for a 25-year period. I was channeling Patrick, who's a lower level guide, and all the way up to Yeshua, who's Jesus. It didn't happen overnight. It took me many years to get to where I was to get to in channeling these beings. So what my advice is for you to come into your own abilities is practice, practice, practice for one thing. For most of you who've known me, like Stacy, have known me since I began. I was the first person that gave her a psychic reading, in fact. Saw my development in my mediumship ability from where I was in 2008, where I did stuff at a place called the Witch's Hat in Royal Palm, to what I do today. It's like I am just such a different person. I have increased tenfold with my abilities. And it's just trusting and believing, but doing the work. Practice, practice, practice. Don't set expectations either. I remember when I was younger, starting out as to become a channel, I used to watch these other channels out there, and I used to go, oh, I wish I was that good. How come I'm that good? How can they do this and all that? When I first saw like John Edwards out on television when he first came out, I was bringing in loved ones, but I was blindfolded. I didn't know how to bring it like John Edwards. So I said, all right, I blindfold myself and I let my guides bring the loved ones through. I realized I'm hiding behind my guides to bring loved ones through for people. It's time to take the mask off, do gallery readings like John Edwards do, have my guides back here, but let it be me, Joseph. So I had to get rid of that fear, and I had to work into the fear of being in the public, because I'm not a type of person that could be in, well, I used to be, and stand in front of the public and talk and things. That wasn't me at all. I was very shy. So I had to put all those fears behind me. Then my mediumship abilities came in where my guides are there, but they're back here, and they help guide the loved ones through where I can be just Joseph bringing in the message. So everything is work in progress, and it takes patience, and don't get discouraged and don't try to push it. And that's how it all comes together.
Wonderful. Thank you. Kathy Hand is loving learning about the astral plane as heaven and the other realms, and was comforted that even if the soul was not a good person or passed violently or died of suicide or addiction, that they might end up in their own personal hell, in quotes, or stuck in the plane between earth and heaven, that they can learn from their past mistakes. I think that's an important point, because I've heard so many times about the life review. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I did write a little bit about it in Is There More to Life, but the next book that I wrote was called Speaking to Heaven. I'll put it right up here. And in Speaking to Heaven book talks more about that. About our soul and what happens, and for those who committed suicide and stuff, there is no hell. Hell is an interpretation of ego, and it's what we're learning here on this earth plane. When we return to our spiritual self, we do relive our life. It's a replay of what went wrong. We are in a place of learning, I call it, where we're surrounded by loved ones that love us, angels, spirit guides. They're there to help us in this next astral plane to understand what went wrong. Why did that person take his life? Why were they so unhappy? A lot of times what happens is we leave the ones here behind with unanswered questions, and they feel guilty that they could do more for them or help them. They would have been alive today. So as a medium, I'm able to bridge that gap to like a counselor or mediator between the two to give the healing between the two. But to answer your questions on the higher self and stuff, once we pass and our soul moves on to the next vibration. It's at a learning place. And if it had, difficulties here on earth, maybe they were murdered, suicide, addictions and stuff, they'll be at a place of learning, not hell, but a place of learning to heal. And as they start to heal, forgiveness is very important with the ones that they left behind, then they start to progress into a higher level and so forth. But ones who die of natural causes had a good life, and they'll just go into their heaven and they'll have their peacefulness. So, yeah.
Well, thank you, Joseph. Thank you so much for answering that. I put us back on gallery view so we can all see each other clearly and see if there's anybody that wants to make any other question or comment to Joseph before we end the show today. And Joseph, we want to honor your time and thank you for being with us.
Okay, and Stacy?
I have a question. Is there one reading that sticks out to you that still kind of touches you to this day?
Wow, there's so many that touches me to the day. And I have to say it was a reading where somebody really wasn't passed over. And I was doing a gallery event and I felt the soul of a person, and I was reading a couple, husband and wife, and I mentioned the name of the person, and the wife looked at me and says, well, that's my sister-in-law, but she's not passed. I said, I'm hearing her clear as day. You sure she's not passed? And then she said, well, she's been in the hospital for 6 months now in a coma. And I said, then I have this ability where like I channel guides through me. Loved ones will merge with me and speak through me. And all of a sudden she jumped into my body and talked to her sister-in-law and said, you tell my husband I didn't know I was in a coma. I thought I was sleeping all this time. And I thought I was just in a deep sleep. Tell him, please don't let me go. They were going to let her go that following day. They were going to pull the plug and just let her go. The next day, the woman came to me. It was a weekend workshop on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. She came Saturday to my workshop, the sister-in-law. She came running up to me and said, Joseph, you're not going to believe it. She woke up this morning. So she talked to me in spirit, or her soul spoke to me, even though she's not crossed over, making her realize that she was in a coma, that she's time to wake up. And the next day she woke up. And that's something that always stays with me.
I think I remember that one.
Yeah, it happened about a couple of years ago that happened. It wasn't too long ago. So, yeah. Okay. Left everybody in silence.
I want to thank you for the book. It's very enjoyable, and thank you again.
Thank you for reading it, Charlie. And thank you for letting the opportunity of connecting with your wife. We're talking here and I'm hearing her in my head right now. She said, Charlie, 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 I love you. I hear you every day. I just want to embrace you. I want to love you and just stay strong. That's all I ask for you is stay strong. Day by day, you'll get through. And she wants to tell you that, Charlie, okay?
Okay.
Right. Well, thank you, Teri.
Beautiful. Joseph, thank you so much for this opportunity to sit with you. And I've loved this. And yes, I have been on programs where it was like reading after reading. And this was so great because it was so personal and just very informal, hearing you talk about what you love. And we feel that passion inside of you.
More of these. So,
Yeah.
but then the loved one slipped in, like Charlie's wife was in my ear just now.
That happens.
Yeah, because I'm open. That's why.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you again. And please, everyone that has the book, hold it up. So those who are watching, if they're not familiar with it, this is there more to life than what we know? And the author of the book, Joseph Brutto III, is sitting here with us today, having a beautiful discussion about the book, how it came to be, some of the things that he brings out in the book. So I highly encourage you to go on Amazon and purchase this for yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone who was here, all of those on Zoom in our book club, those who are watching in the audience and participating. Thank you for being here. We come together every Wednesday at 1 o'clock Eastern, right here on Enlightened World Network. And we'd love for you to join us. Thank you, everybody, and have a beautiful day. And we end with Namaste, y'all. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Joseph.
Bye.
Bye.